Another crucial component of ICM is the logger, and it's a database of ICM that holds the configuration information. Okay, so whatever is being configured, it holds that. Remember, router does not hold any data, right? It's all the runtime. And the logger, right? It provides the configuration to the router, right? Because router doesn't have any database, it needs to depend on the logger. The logger provides it all the configuration that was done to the router. This database, which is running on the logger, is called Central Controller Database, the CCDB. Okay, Central Controller CC, and then database stands for the acronym DB, CCDB. So this logger, when we talk about, acts as an instance for SQL database. Okay, and actually it's SQL database which is running on top of the logger and contains all the contact center configuration related information. It holds the data up to 14 days, right? And is responsible for replicating these data to historical data server, the HDS. We're going to talk later, but it doesn't hold the data beyond those 14 days. Okay. Uh, so when it comes to the redundancy part of the loggers, okay, because when we talk about PCCE or UCCE, we will always talk about the component in redundant fashion. So when it comes to the redundancy, okay, each side will have one logger, right? Side A will have its logger A, and side B will have its logger B, okay? And they communicate with its own router only, right? And they do not communicate with its peer logger. So side A logger will not be talking to side B logger. The only time they do talk, but the only time they talk is one of the logger or maybe both of them went down, okay? And either of them or both of them are into a recovery process. So they restarted. Now they need to talk to each other, okay? Otherwise, they would continue to talk to their individual routers, their side, okay? Uh, so let's say they are into a recovery process and now they would go ahead and exchange the recovery keys. And in case the recovery key does not match, then the logger do the state transfer and exchange the database. So here's an example. If let's say the side A logger went down for some time, and when it was restarted, at that time, uh, the router at its side can only provide the ongoing events, right? Whatever has happened during the time it was into that restart mode, right? While it was going down and coming back up, that information is not there with its own router, right? Router A. So in that case, it needs to connect to uh, the side B logger, right? And then it gets it from there. So this is our logger, and we'll go ahead and log in to talk about what's there in the logger uh, in the same machine the way we talked about the router. Okay, so we logged in back to our same machine right here, which says Roger, because router, the call router, and the logger. So router and logger combinedly called as Rogger. Okay, and if you have got a PG, right, a peripheral gateway, we'll talk about it later in our upcoming sessions. If that has that is also there installed on the same machine, it's called Progger. So combinedly, you can say that. I mean, so PG, router, logger is Progger. Okay, the initials of each of them, if you pick it, PG is P, then routers raw, and then loggers GER. So it's Progger. And similarly, Rogger is like router and logger combinedly called Roger. In lab environment, if you have got uh, everything installed on the same virtual machine, it's called sprawler as well, but in production you wouldn't be really seeing it. uh, Okay, so in the Sandbox Lab, this is the IP address, and I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. So I've launched this utility, and it shows that the logger service is running. In the production environment, like I said, you'll have a separate, uh, logger B as well running in a separate machine. Okay, well, this is it for this section. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.